Hello friends, it's League on Lock. Eric and Mark with you guys, and we're continuing our player rankings. But what we're going to do this time, we're going to be a little more clear and transparent about how we're doing these rankings, because the NA ones, it didn't go as planned. I can understand why it was a little bit confusing. So we're going to move on to Korea because LCK going to be the best region. So we're going to talk LCK. We're doing the top 10 players by position, and this is just, we're going to do it purely individual potential and performances that we've seen before, and not really any outside team influence, so just look at the players. That being said, we're starting in the top lane because it just makes sense to start there, Mark. And pretty much every position is stacked in the LCK for 2019, so get hyped.
Oh, hey, it's LCK. I'm already hyped, man. This is where you want to be. This is the top level League of Legends. You're a man of culture, a woman of culture, a whatever of culture. This is where you want to be for League of Legends.
I'm all about that culture, boss. But let's get to this list. Number 10 to 6, and there's a lot of new faces, again, that have joined some new teams or are looking, to change their storylines when it comes to 2019. And number 10, obviously, Battle Comics and Damwon coming in are going to maybe change the landscapes, but number 10 is Weiser from Battle Comics. He's in at number 10. He wasn't even the starting top laner for them when they qualified. That was Soar. He's no longer with them. So just because we haven't seen much, he's 10.
Right, and I think that actually when you look at what the Battle Comics have had, and I thought that Soar was a good enough job, could have made some type of impact.
Good.
Yeah, exactly. Was a type of player that you could have imagined into a couple matchups here in the LCK top lane, but you roll with Weiser here and slotting him into number 10.
Linderong has probably been the most inconsistent top laner in the LCK over the last year or so, so he's coming in at number 9 solely because we've actually seen games from him.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy because he's found ways to pop off and get these really good performances done, make a lot of these aggressive plays, get a lot of these kills going, but sometimes just ends up absolutely having no impact in these games, ends up feeding not the type of performances that you want. So it was really kind of hit or miss with him throughout most of his career, and especially on his time with Jin Air.
Yeah, a lot of misses on that Jin Air squad. But moving on, Tall is going to a new squad in 2019. People thought maybe SKT would retain him either as a backup or even as a starter going forward, but not the case. He joins his pal Mujin on Hanwha Life for 2019, and he's coming in at 8. There were some bright spots that we saw from him, and we definitely saw potential from him on SKT. So, maybe he can grow and showcase himself a bit.
Yeah, I think Tall sometimes showed a little bit of potential here on SKT, times when he was playing things in the top lane there. And I thought that, he just didn't provide enough of that type of pressure, enough of that carry potential that a team like an SKT absolutely needs from that top lane position there. Finds himself on Hanwha Life, and I think that, Hanwha Life will be struggling to find their spot in the playoffs, and Tall will be a big part of whether they do or not.
And then Rascal's in at number 7, the backup for Khan for the entirety of his time, basically on Kingzone, but he's actually pretty good and deserved a starting spot, but when you're backing up Khan, not going to be the case. And at number 6, we got some new blood. It's Naguri from Damwon Gaming. Everyone is hyped about Damwon. They're going to be the next Griffin, completely destroy the LCK. I'm not so sure about that. Maybe I see them peaking at fighting for a playoff spot in 2019. They're not going to get to the finals, I don't see, in their first split in the LCK, but Naguri in the top lane is one guy to be excited about on this squad.
Let's pump the brakes here a little bit on these crazy solo queue rookie teams just coming through the LCK and smashing here. I think when you're looking at Damwon Gaming, you have to think, of course, yes, they will be a strong team, and yes, I think they have the potential to really do something here in the LCK along the lines of what Griffin did last year. But let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Griffin destroyed them, by the way, when they were in the same spot in
Griffin
Challengers.
is incredibly special and was a very unique situation here. But when you're talking about Damwon Gaming and specifically Naguri in the top lane, I think Naguri will be a strong performer in the LCK this split and will find ways to have some of the star performances that we know. But I think we're going to be looking again still for a little bit more consistency from him as Damwon Gaming finds more time on the big time stage.
And as is the theme for Korean top laners, he loves playing carries, 6-0 on Gangplank, but I mean, they only basically lost 2 times the entire season. So he was undefeated on a lot of champions, but only played a handful of tank games. He loves that Camille and Jace, as everyone does in Korea. Let's move on to the top 5, where you've got more familiar faces. The Gauntlet God himself, Cuvée from Gen G, rounds out the top 5. He had a very disappointing performance at Worlds, but when he's at his peak and what we've seen from him, he is a world-class top laner.
That's the key, the peak. Peak Cuvée is one of the best top laners in the world. Finds a way to put that pressure, exert it on the map, that type of control from that top side there. That is what Cuvée does so well there. And of course, everybody knows him from from 2 years ago, at Worlds, the Gnar play. That's one of the signature champions that he knows very well and manages to put that pressure through in that top lane. Cuvée at his peak would find himself higher up here, but after last year's performance, number 5.
And he has some inconsistencies that we've seen. Sword is in at number 4. He's been a rock in the top lane for Griffin, and then you get to this top 3 with Khan, Smeb, and Keen. And Khan, I mean, throughout his career, he's been, without a doubt, the best top laner in the LCK and in the world, really, and then disappointed on the international stage. But even at times in 2018, you still saw shots of his former glory, and maybe he can get back to that realm. But Smeb and Keen are pretty good.
I'm going to tell it's a lot more than maybe here. And again, we're going off of his own skill here, so we're going to leave behind the SKT super team. We're not going to talk about that. Khan skill will return again this year. We will put the respect on his name when he starts bodying some people there in the top lane for SKT. But number 2 has to be Smeb. Smeb is the guy, the star top laner right now in Korea that I got my eyes on. Always have, always will be. Smeb was fantastic for KT Rolster at Worlds, not the reason they were not able to keep advancing.
And you might say putting Keen over Smeb is kind of crazy, and people seem to disrespect Keen a little bit, but I think there is no question that he was the best top laner in Korea in 2018, and even though Afrika had a disappointing end to Worlds, he was doing his damnedest to keep that squad alive.
Keen was insane at Worlds. The work that he was trying to do for this Afrika Freaks roster, the new, hey, we just don't have the capability right now to increase our tempo, get this early aggression style play going. Didn't matter. Keen was like, okay, that's fine.
Do it myself.
I'll do it myself. I'll carry as much as I can here, coming up with his own counter picks here to the Aatrox, that top lane victor. You can thank him for seeing that a lot there. But Keen absolutely has to be the guy that you want to be watching heading into this year. Yeah, I love me Smeb and I love me some Khan there, though that top 3 is so strong. But Keen was really the guy last year that turned it on and found a way to be that all-star in the top lane, and you gotta be keeping your eyes on him heading into 2019 of the LCK.
Yeah, his development and growth just went to all kinds of new levels last year, and expect that to keep growing. Who knows what we're going to be seeing? Irelia, Aatrox, Akali, Victor in the top lane. It's going to be wild in LCK, but it's going to be one of the most exciting lanes to watch in 2019.